These are the four longest rivers in the world: the Nile River, the Mississippi River, the Yenis River, and the Yangtze River. It says which list shows these rivers in order from shortest to longest. Shortest to longest. So they want me to give them the rivers, and they want me to start with whichever river is the shortest river, which means am I looking for a smaller number or am I looking for a bigger number? If I want a shorter river, do I need a smaller number or a bigger number? Kylie? Exactly. If I'm looking for the shortest one, I need the smallest number. So that means when I start putting these numbers in order, I want to make sure that I'm starting with whatever number is the smallest. I'm going to make sure that I use a place value chart to kind of just keep them lined up. Now, when I'm comparing the numbers, I don't have to make my place value chart with all of the place value labels. What I want to do is whenever I see either a comma or if I'm comparing them and they have decimals, that's what I want to make sure is lined up. Okay, I noticed that all of my numbers have not two decimals, two commas. So I'm going to write two lines. I'm going to leave a good amount of space in between them so that I can write my numbers. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. I'm going to go ahead and put 4 commas on each line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that I have my commas there, all I need to do is copy the numbers and make sure the commas end up in the right places. I'm going to start with the first river they gave me, which is the Nile River. 22, comma, 4, 9, 3, comma, 0, 0. Then I'm going to do the Mississippi River, and I'm going to do the same thing. Put it in this chart, making sure that the commas are lined up. 2, 0, comma, 4, 6, 4, comma, 0, 0. Then the Yenis River, same thing. I'm going to make sure my commas go where they need to. 1, 8, comma, 1, 9, 6, comma, 0, 0, 0. And the last one, the Yangtze River. 20, comma, 6, 8, 5, comma, 0, 0. The reason why I split up my numbers like this when I'm comparing numbers, when I'm trying to put them in order, is because, especially with bigger numbers, I don't want to have to look at a lot of numbers at one time. I want to be able to look at them in smaller chunks, smaller pieces. That way it's not as hard for me to figure out which number is bigger and which number is smaller. So drawing the lines will help me. The other thing that will help me is just to use my hand and block out or cover up any parts of the numbers that I'm not looking at. Whenever you're comparing numbers, you always start with the biggest place values. Never start at the lowest part of the numbers. You always start at the biggest part of the number, whichever place values are largest. I'm going to take my hand. I'm going to cover up everything except for that very first. So I see 22, 20, 18, and 20. They're not all the same, so I can see some differences. Can I tell which number is the smallest? Kylie, which number is the smallest? 18. Okay. Kylie, did I want the smallest numbers first, or did I want the smallest numbers at the end? Okay. So if this is the smallest number, and I want my smallest numbers first, that means that this is my first place number. The good thing about copying down the numbers in the same order is that I know which one it matches up to. This is my first place number. That means the Yenisei River is my first place number. Now that I know what place it's in, I can cross it out so I don't look at it anymore and I don't confuse myself. This is my smallest number. The other good thing about figuring out which number is the smallest is I can start getting rid of some answer choices. I know that my list has to start with the Yenisei River. Do I see an answer choice, or answer choices maybe, that I can get rid of because they don't start with the right river? Kaylee? Okay, F starts with Nile and H starts with Yangtze. So both of those I got rid of. I still have two answer choices to look at though. So I don't have my answer just yet. Go back to covering up my number. We still have a 22, a 20, and a 20. Again, they're not all the same numbers, so I can see some differences here. What difference can I see with the numbers I have left? 22, 20, 20. Noah? Okay, and what about 22? Bigger or smaller? It's the highest. Okay. So Noah, if my list was supposed to start with the smallest number, you told me this was the highest number, right? So where should this go in my list? Should it go at the beginning or at the end? The end. Okay, so instead of first place, this has to get last place or fourth place. Now that I know what place that's in, I can cross it out too. And again, because I copied them in the same order, I know which river, fourth place as well. Now I've already gotten rid of F. I've already gotten rid of H. Is there an answer choice I can get rid of because that last river is not correct? Kylie? Which one? Which one can I get rid of? G. If I look at the end of the list on G, it says Mississippi, but we want Nile. So J is my answer. Number 5. Yeah, sure thing, Bella. In the number shown, one digit is underlined and one digit is circled. So here's our number. There's one that has an underline and one that has a circle. Which statement about the circle digit is true? Again, when they tell me a true or false type question, one thing that I found that really helps me out is to put a T and an F next to all of my answer choices. So I have a true and a false. True and false. True and false. True and false. True, false. Usually on questions like this, what they're asking you to do is to compare the place values. They want you to compare them. One of them will be bigger, one of them will be smaller. The good thing about these types of questions, when they're comparing your place values, is that there's only two answer choices that would make any sense. If a number is going to be bigger, if a place value is bigger, how much bigger do they get? Every time they move up in a place value, how much bigger do they get? There's a certain number. Kylie? Ten times. So if you can remember the number 10, it'll help you out a lot here. 10 times. So if the number is bigger, it will be 10 times bigger. Now the part that messes some people up is the smaller, because we wouldn't say 10 times smaller. We would say it a different way. How would we say it? Not 10 times smaller, but what? Kylie? Not bigger this time. 1/10 smaller. So those are the only two answer choices that I should be picking. Either 10 times or 1/10. So I'll be honest with you, I really like these types of questions, because usually with these kinds, I can get rid of at least one answer choice because they don't use 10 times or 1/10. 10 times. 1/40th. Told you. Right away, there's one I can get rid of. 10 times or 1/10. That is it. I don't care what numbers they're asking you to compare. Those are the only two answer choices that will make sense. So I know that's false already because they're not using the right one. 1/10, 40 times. Again, I got lucky here. I got two out of the way. It can't be 40 times. It can't be 1/40th. It can only be 10 times or 1/10. Nothing else. That does leave me with two answer choices to check, but two answer choices to check is a lot better than four answer choices to check. It says, which statement about the circle digit is true? So I'm going to put an arrow on top of my circle digit. This is the one I need to pay attention to. If I'm looking at the circle digit, is this the bigger number or is this the smaller number? Nakai, is this the bigger number or the smaller number? Which one would it be, Nakai? Bigger or smaller? Not sure Nakai can hear me. Who can tell me? Is that circled number the bigger or the smaller number? Kaylee. Not what I asked, baby. The circled number. Is that the bigger or the smaller number? Smaller. So that's what I want. And you said C. Why C? What makes C a better answer choice than A? What did they do? Very good. A says that its value is 10 times greater. 10 times would be if it's the big number, but it's not. C says its value is 1/10 the value of the underlying digit, and that's exactly what I want. You're absolutely right. 1's in the numerator, 10's in the denominator. So my answer should be C. All right. Number 6. This is what we were working on the week before. The model below is shaded to represent a number greater than 1. I can see that they have a few models. Some of them are shaded in completely, and some of them are not. Which decimal and fraction does the model represent? Okay, that's not too bad. So I can either start by figuring out the fraction or by figuring out the model. Doesn't matter which one you start with. It's completely up to you. I'm going to start off with the fraction. So again, this tells me that there's a number greater than 1. I can see that because I can see that there are multiple models, there are 4 models to be exact, and 3 of these models, they shaded in completely. No blank spaces on those. So that tells me that I need to put a number in front of my fraction. Who can tell me what number should go in front of the fraction? What number should I put in front of this fraction here? Bailey, what do you think? I know that I have some models that are completely shaded in, so I know that I need to have a number in front of the fraction. But what number should I put in front of my fraction? A 3. Very good. Why do I need a 3, Bailey? Because there are 3 whole models that have been shaded in. Okay, well that brings me to the actual fraction part of my fraction. I've got 3 whole models shaded in, and the last one has some parts missing. Who can tell me, for my fraction, what should my denominator be? Kylie, what should my denominator be for my fraction? 100. Okay. And Kylie, can you tell me what the numerator should be? Okay. Remember, when you're counting these, one way that you can make it quicker and I know I'm pretty sure you did this, is remember these are set up in lines of 10. When you see a whole line, you can count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then you count the little ones by themselves. 61, 62, 63. Okay, so I've got my fraction here. Now that I have a fraction, I can go ahead and start using it to get rid of some answer choices. I know what the fraction should be. 3 and 63 out of 100. If I take a look at my fractions, F has 363 over 100. No. G has 36 and 3 out of 100. No. H has 3 and 63 out of 100. That one actually matches. And J has 63 out of 1000. No. Notice how most of those fractions had the same numbers, they just put them in different orders. They try to use those same numbers over and over again, so that way if you're not being careful, you'll pick whichever one, because you'll see, oh, there's a 3, there's a 6, there's a 3. Yeah, that's what I need. They try to use similar numbers so that way if you're going quickly, if you're not paying attention, they can confuse you. This would still work even if I had wrote the fraction, or sorry, the decimal first. If I were to write the decimal first, just like it is in the fraction, Bailey told me that there were 3 whole model shaded in. So there was a 3 in front of my decimal, or sorry, my fraction. So there should be a 3 in front of the decimal. 3 decimal. Since 63 is my numerator, 63 is what goes after my decimal. 3.63. If I take a look at answer choice H, they have the correct fraction as well. Look at the other examples of the fractions they gave us. 363. No decimal, but the numbers are right. They're even in the right order. 36.3. Again, numbers are right. They're in the right order, but they put the decimal in a different spot. 3.63. This is the only other answer choice that gave me the correct decimal, but they messed up their fraction. So my answer should be H.